Sometimes we all have a higher destiny. Welcome to the Complete Story Series. We take trade paperbacks and single issues and we break them down into digestible bites to help you understand. Then we read it dramatically back to you. All illustrations of the panels, text, and images are to prevent copyright issues, and all art is owned by its respective companies. This is part 2 of Wayward, an Image comic that is a fun mashup of Japanese and American comic cultures. And if you missed part 1, you can click right now to go ahead and check it out. If you want to continue the story after this video, then make sure you click the link down below to find issue 11 of Wayward so you can continue reading. Also, click down below to find the writer's page and the deluxe version of his story that'll get you both parts 1 and 2. Lastly, keep in mind, while I did pronounce a lot of the names wrong last time, we're going to be trying them again this time. It's been 3 months since the accident. A couple of students from the school have been missing ever since then, and one of them was Rory Lane. And Ohara Emi can't stop thinking about her. She only saw her once when she was going to the bathroom, but the look in her eyes, the look of pain, stayed with Ohara. She doesn't know why it stayed with her or why it bothers her so much, but it does. So the day after school, she takes her usual route home, swinging by a store to buy some gashapon, little plastic toys. Ohara likes the fact that these little cute toys are in a bubble, like she is. But as she begins to pick it up, it begins to feel warm, and her hand begins to change to the color of the toy. Panicking, she drops it, wondering what just happened. But either way, she heads home. It's at home that she goes to bed until a bright red light beams through her window. Looking up, she sees Rory hovering there, surrounded by red ribbons. She presses her hand against the glass to reach out to her, to let her know that she's there and she can see her. And when Rory presses back against the glass, she begins to make the glass move. Ohara suddenly wakes up thinking, what a weird dream. And when she looks at the window, she sees the depression of a hand. Not really knowing what to make of it, she grabs her lunch and runs out of the house as quickly as possible. How could she even explain that? A ghost girl visited her in her dream? She went through her day like normal, but the whole time, she couldn't stop thinking about the night before. Was it a dream, or was it real? The only thing that gives her comfort is her routine and her safe bubble. But as she's coming down one of the alleys, strange green lights appear before her, and 2 dog-like creatures appear. They call out to her that she is one of them, and they charge at her. But somehow, she moves the very ground that they are running on and smashes the first dog between 2 stone slabs. She then begins to run as fast as she can until she gets to a chain-link fence, which she climbs and jumps over into a junkyard. She calls out for help, anyone! And the only things that seem to hear her are the cats. So the dogs get closer, and they tell her that she is done running. She is only prolonging the inevitable. When out of the blue, a girl with a nail bat jumps in and cracks the dog across the jaw. Cat daughter, you've stayed hidden, they tell her, and then she tells them she isn't a coward like the Kappa, as the dog grabs the end of her bat with a bite. Nikki, do it, she yells out, and a boy walks out from behind the junk. You must stay calm, he tells the dog, and it calms down and it begins to stare at him. So the cat girl cracks it over the face and then proceeds to beat on the dog mercilessly. Then, covered in blood, she turns to Ohara. I'm Ayane, and that's Nikito. We're the good guys. Ohara returned home that night and came up with the excuse that she had joined a club. That's why she was running late. Her mother then told her that they cleaned up the glass from her broken bedroom window. It turns out that the window broke and no one saw the handprint. So her next day was a weird one. She couldn't get out of her head what had happened until that evening when she met back up with Ayane and Nikki. She wants to know what's happening to her. She's getting weird feelings from these objects and these demon thingies are chasing her. So Ayane asks her what she can do. And Ohara explains that when she touches objects, they become a part of her, and she tried to demonstrate with a post nearby, but it didn't work. But once Nikki gave her his bottle, she was able to turn her hands into a glass-type material. So the kids quickly deduce that it's a man-made object that she can absorb and move around. Since they figured out that she can control matter, Nikki explains that he can control emotions, and Ayane is connected to cats, and they ask Ohara to join them. Ayane explains that these monsters took 2 of their friends, and to keep the monsters from getting to her and Nikki, they're trying to kill them first. So they do that. They kill the monsters at night, and for the first time, Ohara begins to feel in control. She's actually enjoying doing this. Meanwhile, across Japan, the ribbons of life are swirling around 2 individuals who are coming back to the proper plane of existence. Rory and Shiri both awake on the ground in front of a temple, where a kindly old woman is tending to the cats. Shiri is worn out from whatever happened to them, so the old woman begins to help bring him inside where they lay him down to rest. Back with the kids, Ayane is getting worse, angrier at the monsters, and Nikki can see it's happening. So he takes Ohara aside to talk to her, and it's about how they need a long-term plan. Because going out every night to kill the random monsters just isn't getting them anywhere. It was Rory who could see the patterns of life and tell them where to go. That's why they had her killed. but Ohara tells him that Rory is alive. She saw her out her window before meeting them. She believes that Rory is searching for something, and once she finds it, she'll come back to the group. Back with Rory, Shiri is coming unraveled in front of her eyes. His threads are coming out of his body. So she tries something new, something that she's never done before, as she taps right into him and repairs the damage done. While doing so, she can see his past, present, and future. She sees where the group has been and where it needs to go. And once she saves Shiri, she decides that they need to go back for the others. It's the only way that they can all survive. Back with Ohara and Nikki, they're trying to figure out where they should go next, and that's when Ayane shows up holding a bunch of random giant spiders. The dirt spiders are going to help us. At first, Ohara changes her arm into a giant metal club, but the spiders explain that they want to help. The leader of the enemy army is hunting down those that they can't control, and the dirt spiders are being targeted. So it's decided that they'll plan a direct attack. Meanwhile, Rory and Shiri are following the patterns to Ohara's home. Then, to Shiri's surprise, Rory starts displaying a crazy amount of control over her powers as she changes their clothes to something that looks better. She then walks upstairs into Ohara's home and runs at crazy speed and taps into her parents' heads with the word weakness so that they can't stop them. She then walks into Ohara's room and sees where they saw each other out the window. The girl's name is Ohara, and she saw me as we tumbled through the weave, Shiri. Shiri finally catches up and grabs her by the shoulder. Rory, this is crazy. I'm not going to hurt them. And then Rory walked over to her parents. Your daughter is a part of something bigger than you can comprehend. She's not the young girl that you once knew, and if you get involved, you will die. This is how it goes, trust me. Your only chance is if I break the ties that bind you to her. Shiri looks in as Rory begins to manipulate the weave, change the way things should be, and she makes them forget. She changes their memories. They never had a daughter named Ohara. The rooms all change to reflect that, and Rory then walks out of the house. As they go down the elevator, Shiri tells her that her magic is getting out of control, but Rory tells him that it's finally working properly. She is a weaver and she can change the strings of fate, and she knows it. Shiri isn't happy with that response, and he simply tells her that if you try that mind shit on me, I'll kill you. Back with the kids and the dirt spiders, they approach the temple with an army of cats ready to fight. The monks of the temple begin to tear their own skin off, revealing the monsters beneath. And as the civilians flee, Nikki throws a Molotov at them, and Ohara takes a swing with her steel pipe arms and a steel pipe. They're doing an amazing job, taking out each of the monsters one at a time, until their leader, a Tengu, walks out and jumps in the middle, slamming his spear to the ground with a shockwave. He demands that they leave or they be destroyed. That's when the Dirt Spider Queen tells him that his words are empty. The upstarts lay claim to the kingdom, and Ohara runs in with her pipe. But what we finally see is that Ohara has a little spider in her ear telling her how to do this, what to do, giving her strength, telling her that she is fearless as she jumps in and begins fighting the Tengu. Over and over she swings until finally he gets a slice in at her back. But she managed to make her skin steel back there as well. And she lifts the spear right off her own back as Nikki begins messing with the Tengu's emotions, and Ayane sends a cat in to bite down on the giant nose. Then, from behind, Ayane jumps in swinging her 2 nail bats and squashing his skull between them. Ohara then follows the spider's orders and begins to dig into the ground to find the proxy that the demons were using, the mummified body of a monk. The Tengu drags himself up, his skull split open and an eyeball falling out. Please, you don't understand our future. But then, before she can destroy it, the weave begins appearing overhead, a big ball of the ribbons of life. Rory appears with Shiri and thanks Ohara for protecting her friends while she was away. And Shiri says, "Shit, did we miss a sweet fight?" She then points to the Tengu with the weave flowing around her. I've seen the weave in all of its glory. The threads of life control the world and our place within it. I know why these wayward children scare you, why you tried to separate us, control us, hunt us down, but it ends here. We're not running anymore. Your time is over. We are the new gods of Japan, and we're going to wipe you out. And Wayward, Volume 2 ends there. The newest arc picks up with issue 11, and it'll be another 6 months until we can continue this story ourselves. So if you want to check it out early, follow all the links down below to get more of this story. And make sure you read the actual book yourself if you have a chance, because there's more backstory that we had to skip over. I'm Benny the Comicstorian, and I'll see you next time right here.
So today I wanted to talk about Ayane. She is a bakaneko, or a neko mitsume. Basically, she's a shape-changing cat, but she's a specific form of shape-changing cat that is known as cat daughter, which is a specific type of shape-changing cat. Both of these are part of Japan's kabeyo, which are basically Japan's folklore around magical cats. In Japan, for centuries, cats were considered spirits or yokai, because they moved without a sound, their eyes changed shape depending on the time of day, and they seemed to produce light, even though this was just static electricity off of their fur. A common superstition in Japan was that when a cat would lick at a lantern, that meant something strange was about to happen. But the thing is, they actually lit their lanterns with fish oil, so naturally cats were always going to be licking lanterns. So this wasn't really so much an omen, so much as a misunderstanding about what makes cats tick. So there were several ways where a cat could become Bakai Neko. The most prominent way was a cat would live to 13 or 12 years of age and then they just turn into a shape-changing cat. Or if a human was so horrible to a cat and very, very abusive to a cat, this cat would change into a Bakai Neko. So cats were treated with a lot of respect, because if a cat turned into a yokai, that meant you were cursed. The most well-known tale of a Bakai Neko actually revolves around the theme of depression, which is something it shares with Wayward. Basically, a man called Nabeshime Mitsushige would put a boy to the sword. He would kill him, and this boy's mother would mourn for weeks and weeks and weeks and would vent to her cat that she raised, until eventually she committed suicide, and then this cat would lick this woman's blood and would turn into a Bakai Neko. With this cat's newfound powers, it would actually go and torment Nabeshima until the cat was eventually killed as well. Overall, it's very, very clear that Ayane is based off of the Bakai Neko, but when you actually look into the Bakai Neko, she doesn't share that many traits with them, but that's okay, because Wayward is an adaptation of Japanese folktales, and I like that they've done their own spin on things.